This is Tad Stones, the creator of The Terror That Flaps in the Night, and you are listening to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. But you probably already knew that.
Rescue Rangers away, I guess. And, yeah, we are going to talk about it tonight. We are absolutely going to talk about this. But before that, welcome to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, a very disappointed Mike Russo, and...
Tiffany Silverbraun.
Hi, Tiff. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
So we are recording this Tuesday, February 15th, the same day the Chippendale Rescue Rangers Disney Plus movie trailer dropped. And we have thoughts. We have a lot of thoughts. And not good. Not good. Tiffany, just thoughts. What did you think of what you watched?
It's really weird. It's awkward to me. I think the animation is not great. I think it plays off as like a fan fiction.
It's bad. I mean, the opinion is really divided. And I feel like it depends on what social media platform you're on and the age group that's on it. I feel like on like Twitter, there's a lot of positivity about it. But for the most part, it seems like on Facebook, everybody hates it. And YouTube seems to have lots of positivity too. I think it's going to be very divisive. But of course, I am the older age group. And I'm not saying Rescue Rangers is dear to me in any way. I have a lot of nostalgic fondness for it. I don't think it's a show that holds up to marathon viewing. It's all right. So it's not like the sacred cow that can't be touched. But this is crap. First of all, the damn voices.
Yeah. It's awkward. It's so off-putting.
What were they thinking?
I don't know. Everyone keeps saying that they hope they change it, just like they did with Sonic.
Yeah, it's too late. This comes out in like 3 months.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. And I know it's not Ben Schwartz, but why do all characters and everything have to sound like Ben Schwartz?
Yeah, seriously.
Like when I told my wife Chip wasn't Ben Schwartz, she was like, really? Are you sure?
Yeah, and I like John Mulaney a lot, and it didn't really sound like him to me.
It sounded exactly like Ben Schwartz, and it's just like, ugh. Like, I can only imagine how Tress MacNeille feels right now. and Jim Cummings is not Monterey Jack either, although we haven't heard enough of the voice to tell exactly what he sounds like.
I have no idea why he's not.
And you said the animation, it's I cannot deal with this kind of animation. And I'm not talking about like the photorealistic CGI Dale either. That's not what's bothering me about this.
Yeah, I feel like almost the idea of him getting like surgery to do that could be clever, but it's weird when the other characters are also CGI. So it's
But I feel like somebody watched Space Jam 2 and was like, I want to copy this. Because I haven't seen the movie, but isn't there a point in the movie where all the Looney Tunes characters are flat, regular 2D animation, and they undergo like this process and become CGI?
Yeah.
Isn't this the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
But like,
I mean,
okay, you were saying?
No, just saying that it's weird because like I just don't understand why they couldn't have him hand drawn. It doesn't
Like legit
it's
hand
kind of
drawn.
yeah, it's like the same kind of thing like when they were gonna do Roger Rabbit 2 and they kept doing all these tests of like weird 3D animated Roger Rabbit, and it's like, why are you trying so hard to make it CGI when literally the point is to make it hand drawn? Like that's the point. So why isn't it hand drawn?
I mean, there are so many ways of doing this. Do them hand drawn, like completely hand drawn. I know they don't have the facilities for this anymore. They don't have the animator desks and stuff, but you can still do hand drawn, even if it's computer assisted. Most TV shows do that now. Simpsons, Family Guy, all of them.
Yeah.
But it's still flat. Or,
Yeah.
and I know this wasn't going to happen, not on the Disney Plus budget, they can be CGI, but cartoony CGI. That can be done, but
Yeah.
obviously not on this budget. But it can be done. But this is neither. This is this really unholy hybrid where the characters are still CGI models, but they're flat CGI models.
They look really stiff.
What'd you say?
They look really stiff.
They look like PlayStation 2 video game characters.
Yeah.
Like that Tom and Jerry movie that came out last year. Everyone was saying, hey, it's 2D, it's hand-drawn. No, it's not. A computer did that. The characters don't even have outlines. And that's what they went for with, like, Chip and the other characters before they... I guess at some point, Dale goes under this process and becomes fully CGI, like the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. But Chip still looks CGI too, only a gross flat CGI, and it bothers me so much. Like maybe I'm over exaggerating how much this bothers me, but I know you don't like it either, so I don't feel that bad. For the record, our dear friend Will Santana also thinks this sucks. And he wanted everyone to make sure he felt that way. I feel bad that we're ragging on this, but it's just how I feel.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to... What?
We'll see how it turns out.
I'm not going to sit here like, oh, it's great, maybe it'll be good, when my gut feeling was to throw up in my mouth when I saw it. That's how I feel. And sorry, guys, you got to hear me talk. You've been listening to this show for 2.5 years. You know, you guys are in it for the long haul. I can be honest. But the other thing that bothers me about this, it's hiding behind all of these references and cameos to get you to watch it. Like, oh, look, there's Roger Rabbit. Oh, look, there's Scrooge. Oh, look, there's My Little Pony. Watch it. You'll love it. It's your childhood. And I'm just so over that mentality from Hollywood. Lego Batman, Ready Player One, Space Jam 2. It's like, it's not good, but don't you want to see it? Roger Rabbit's in it.
I mean, I don't mind that usually. It doesn't bother me that much.
But this...
that is what Roger Rabbit was too, like back in the day.
But Roger Rabbit was good.
Yeah, exactly. This seems really forced, and there wasn't really a super, I don't know. It didn't seem forced in Roger Rabbit at all.
I feel like the people making this don't even like Rescue Rangers. They just want to make one of these types of movies.
And like having the thing of Monterey Jack being like having like a cheese addiction problem and like pushing that aspect, that's to me the main part that feels like fan fiction-y. It's like you and your friends joking about it, like, oh yeah, and then he had to go into rehab for cheese. It's like
that shot of the cartoon mouse feeding the realistic mouse cheese and he's all fat. It's like, who is this for?
Yeah, totally. And then speaking of that, they put that Sweetie song as like a totally weird, inappropriate song as like over the whole trailer. That's really confusing, and they had to censor like every other word.
But Tiffany, Roger Rabbit's gonna be in it. And the last thing is, I've been feeling this way for a while. and I feel this way so much more now. I feel like Disney Plus has become this century's direct to DVD, where all this garbage that's just not good enough for theatrical release is being dumped on Disney Plus because it's there. This is what happened 15, 20 years ago with the direct to video stuff. None of it was good, but they kept pumping it out because people bought it. We don't have direct to video anymore, but hey, we got Disney Plus. Ain't good enough for theaters, but it's good enough for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And it's like, that really makes me worry about this Darkwing reboot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have one more thing to say about the stuff that we've heard where the synopsis was released, and it said that they're trying to rescue one of their old team members, which from the trailer I can only assume is Gadget.
I guess.
And I don't like that either, that it's going to be a save the girl plot. The character that everybody loves. Maybe that's not what's going on, but you don't see any Gadget really in it. So
to the trailer's credit, it makes it look like anything can happen. Like literally anything can happen. Like
the only way I could see that plot going good, if it really is Gadget and me not being annoyed that it's a save the girl plot, is if it ends up being something kind of like the live action Scooby-Doo movie ending.
Hey, you know what? Who knows? Like, there's a glimpse of Scrooge McDuck in this trailer. The amount of Disney afternoon stuff they may throw at you that they're keeping secret might be totally insane. It won't make me forgive it if it's garbage, but it'll make it more interesting. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Darkwing Duck shows up. Like, at all. If he shows up, it would not shock me. But there's still plenty of time before this comes out. It's not like they're going to make it a better film. It's done. The best thing about this is we're getting Rescue Rangers on Blu-ray, which by the time this drops, I will have had it. So in the next episode, I'll discuss how that turned out. Hopefully good, knock on wood. But I think we've been ragging on this and discussing it long enough. We got to get to issue 8 of the Darkwing Duck Boom comic, because for any other reason, there are so many references in this thing of all different Darkwings that we'll be here forever if we don't start. Okay, so issue 8, the final part of Crisis on Infinite Darkwings. Really quick, let's blow through these two covers. Tiffany, what's cover 8A?
It is Darkwing in the middle. You see it's a black background, and you see all the different incarnations of Darkwing from the different universes. You also see the Fearsome Five, Ammonia Pine, and Gosmo Duck and Magica. And in the middle, you see 2 mysterious glowing red eyes.
Ah, I wonder who that is. Yes. And of course, this cover was done by James Silvani. Obviously. Cover B is another one of those Batman homage covers. Take this one away, Tiffany. What is this? What is cover 8B?
It is an homage to Batman 227.
From, was it 1970?
Yes. Yes. And it's got a haunted house and a road at the bottom, and you see a kind of bird character running in a pink dress. You see Negaduck in the background with robot dogs for some reason.
Why aren't they Dobermans?
I don't know. And then in the sky, you see a big, giant full moon, fog, and kind of a ghostly image of Darkwing.
Which that would have been Batman on the original cover.
Yes.
We also have Launchpad in a small box, and that would have been Robin.
Yeah.
And the Darkwing on the top left with a cape over himself, which is really old model sheet art. That replaces Batman pretty much doing the same thing. Although, speaking of model sheet art, the Negaduck at the bottom, that is also Darkwing Duck model sheet stuff.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
He just painted as Negaduck, of course. So yeah, out of these two covers, And of course, neglected to mention, cover B was drawn by Diego Jordan again. Out of these two covers, which one do you prefer?
Despite the problems in B, I think I prefer that one because I love all the Batman tributes.
I'm gonna go with that one too. I'm fine with it. I mean, I didn't like it as much until I saw the cover it was an homage to. Now I like it more. The Silvani one is nice. It's super cluttered though, but it's very relevant for the this issue. This issue is super cluttered and super crazy, so it absolutely works. Okay, so we gotta start talking about this issue. We start with a bunch of other dimensional Darkwings being captured by Quiverwing Duck, and a bunch of ones we haven't seen so far. Want to name them quick, Tiffany?
Yeah, we got Doctor Who, Darkwing with TARDIS, Thunderquack in the background. You got Optimus Prime, Darkwing, Simba, Darkwing with Pumbaa Launchpad and Timon. And then there's 3 characters from a band, which we can't exactly figure out who they are, possibly the Jonas Brothers.
Well, it was 2011. This came out that January, I believe. So they were still around. They were relevant at that point, right?
I guess. I don't really know anything about them.
I'm too old to really to know that. So.
And the girls are a little too young to be into them. So.
Exactly. So Quiverwing Duck is approached by what's his face?
Dark Warrior.
Dark Warrior Duck. There's just so many Darkwings in this issue.
Yeah.
Who also has Moriarty and Tuscanini in his hands. So there's a quick fight. Dark Warrior sends the drones after him. Quiverwing stops the drones, blows up Dark Warrior's tank.
And it's a little weird that he says, well, play do-gooder to me, because isn't he supposed to think that he's a do-gooder too?
Technically, right? Also, yeah. There's some of the worst dialogue in the story arc happens here that does get changed, but from Joe Books. One of them here is Dark Warrior Duck says, help him, as Darkwing Prime, this universe is Darkwing, help him have one of his last few victories before he loses her. Which I think is intentionally cryptic, so reading it, you don't know if he means Morgana or Goslin.
Yeah.
But in Joe Books, he says, help him before he loses something both of us lost.
Which would make more sense if you know the characters.
It's still cryptic, but it isn't as weird and clunky.
Yeah.
So Quiverwing Duck has to head off to help the heroes, who are still fighting. Darkwing still fighting Negaduck, Cosmoduck still fighting the Wolfman Darkwing, and Magica still fighting Morgana. And Paddywack's getting closer and closer. This page, where they show everybody fighting, has a lot of has an inner monologue from Morgana that says, so this is a thing, attacked, trapped, werewolfed. And that's just, again, super clunky. Definitively Dangerous took all that out, thankfully. So what happens next? Magica loses her hold on Morgana. How does that happen?
Quiverwing Duck shoots his boomerang arrow and catches the magical Jack Skellington horseshoe.
Yeah, so she
away from her. She loses all her power.
And she loses her hold on all the Darkwings as well.
Yeah.
And if you look really quick, there's a little panel of Paddywack crawling through the sewer, and there's 2 of the sharks from Finding Nemo. One is definitely Bruce, and one's the other one with the hook in his nose. I forgot it. I forgot the name of the other 2 sharks.
I didn't remember either of their names.
But we see a bunch of panels of all the different Darkwings coming out of their trances. A bunch we already know, so I'm not going to bother naming them. But in addition, there's also Darth Vader Darkwing.
Yep.
So, and he says, what is the meaning of this? And then we see a bunch of other Darkwings coming out of their trances, including Bob's Big Boy Darkwing, Indiana Jones Darkwing, Harry Potter Darkwing, and who else do we see in this panel?
We see Rescue Rangers, Darkwing, and a possible Pee-wee Darkwing in the background.
There's a lot. This issue has like the most Darkwing references. It's absolutely nuts.
And this one has a bunch of like non-Disney references.
Yeah, they get really brazen by the end of this issue. So Negaduck sees that all the Darkwings are offline, so that means his plan has failed. This is one of the things I like least about this issue, at least this version. Negaduck snaps. Like his eyes go crazy, his teeth get sharp, and he starts beating the crap out of Darkwing. You don't see it, but like you see him punching with his fists, and he's screaming,
"You stars!"
Yeah, he's screaming, "You have no idea the sacrifices I made to make this a reality. What I've lost, what I will never see again." What the heck is he talking about?
Yeah, I have no idea.
The only thing I could possibly think of is that he left the Negaverse behind and can't get back to it. But
yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking that. I was kind of thinking that there was going to be a plot that comes up later, but
never does.
Yeah.
And if they have an end game to this, they never get back to it. Luckily, the Definitively Dangerous version, which I wish you had a copy of. Why is it so hard to find? It just changes it to Negaduck just in general, just like, "I hate you. You have no idea how much I hate you." And that's it. Like, "You ruined everything. I hate you." Which is fine. That's more Negaduck.
That's better.
Lot less weird. And then Paddywack shows up. And yeah, they shoehorned him into this. Yeah, he bursts through the wall and grabs Negaduck, and just more like inane dialogue. He says to Negaduck, "Don't be afraid. There is so much fear in you." Fear? Fear? In Negaduck? And of course, weird. I'll tell you what the Joe Books line is, and it'll make so much more sense. He says, more or less, "So angry, delicious."
Way better.
That's Paddywack. So much fear in you, not Negaduck. I'm sorry. And like the very next line of dialogue from Darkwing is, "Negaduck, that's Paddywack. Even you can't handle him." Okay, I've seen The Haunting of Mr. Banana Brain more times than is sane. Darkwing and Quackerjack team up and beat Paddywack in under like 30 seconds. You're telling me Negaduck couldn't handle that? Again, really weird dialogue. In Definitively Dangerous, he says, "Careful, Negaduck. Paddywack feeds on negative emotions." That makes more sense. This is why it's a shame Definitively Dangerous is so hard to find, because it's so much better read. It really is. So what happens next? Rant over. What happens next?
So then Gosmo Duck rescues Darkwing, Wolfman Duck, Morgana, and Quiverwing Duck, and she gets short-circuited from all the water, and the Gizmo Duck suit explodes off of her.
Yep, bursts to pieces. Very much like it would on Ducktales.
Yeah.
So Launchpad shows up, and they're still having a hard time with him because his feet are colored yellow again. I don't know. And then he sees Magica. In this version, he says, "Whoa, what is she doing here?"
Which I could totally hear in Launchpad's voice.
Because it's the whoa.
Yeah.
But again, Definitively Dangerous, he says something along the lines of, "I don't know how to tell you this, DW, but she's a bad guy." Which, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's funnier.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the drawing.
Of her spitting out the water on the ground all wet. Magica is, excited because finally she gets to go after the launch pad for Scrooge's dime. But then a giant Paddywack version of Negaduck bursts out of the street. I mean, again, picture Negaduck with Paddywack's teeth and eyes.
It kind of looks like when he's Mega Negaduck and he's gets the Quackerjack laugh.
A little bit, yeah. I noticed the very, very top of this gigantic one-page panel, very top, Goofy's up there reacting to it. Don't ever change, James Silvani. You're just amazing. Yeah, so this giant possessed Negaduck is on the loose, and Darkwing makes a weird comment, like, why is Negaduck even in my life? Which makes him think of something, and they do alter that in the Definitively Dangerous. He says something about splitting, and that's when he gets the idea.
Oh my gosh, that's so much better.
like something like how like we have to split or something, and then he's like, ding. Asking
Nice.
why is Negaduck even in my life is a little too introspective for Darkwing Duck. So Darkwing, Launchpad, and Goslin leave, and they leave Morgana and Magica to fight the possessed Negaduck, who is enjoying how Paddywack is enjoying how angry Negaduck is when he has to deal with Magica. He's like, I see how this makes you feel, Negsy. Get those feelings out. What happens next?
So then he takes his humongous foot and stomps towards them, and Magica turns into a bee and flies away.
Magica really beats out of there really quick.
Yeah.
Like, for all the work they've done to get this far, dimension hopping and zapping and hypnotizing all the Darkwings, she's this close to the dime, and she bails so fast. It's like they had to write Magica out of this story, but a little clunky.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gone. We're not going to see Magica again. So the next scene takes place in jail. And so Darkwing, Goslin, and Launchpad are talking to someone you don't see right away.
Yeah, and in that background, really quick, is you see one of the weasels and
the big bad wolf.
Yeah, and the one in what's the one on the right? Is
that's Honest John from Pinocchio?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It looks a little weird.
So they've come to Megavolt to get a hold of the tronsplitter from the episode Negaduck. And Darkwing's like, I need what created the original Negaduck.
And he just has it in the jail.
Yeah, what's that doing there? He's like, oh, that old thing right over there. Just bring it back in one piece. So yeah, they take it, and Darkwing makes a comment. He's gonna write a letter to the jail about the security in this place. But very interesting that Darkwing said that, because we see the bed next to Megavolt. What's laying in bed?
It's like a fake dummy version of Quackerjack.
With his lips sewn shut and buttons for eyes. Very Coraline.
Yeah.
Incredibly creepy. And this is setting up a whole Quackerjack thing. We're getting to very, very soon. So things look bad for Morgana. She's trying to hold Paddywack Negaduck back with her, her magic. She gets hit with some rocks, knocked out for a second. Then she looks over, and all the other multiverse Darkwings have come to her rescue. And this is where we get so many crazy ones. Like, it's insane. This one panel of her looking up and seeing everybody includes a Darkwing on mechanical stilts. Not sure what that is. What did you think that was?
I thought maybe it was Inspector Gadget.
We got one in a trench coat with a white face. Who's that?
That's Rorschach from Watchmen.
We got Reverse Flash, Darkwing, and of course, if no one knows, Reverse Flash, the colors of Reverse Flash is what inspired Negaduck's colors. An Aquaman Darkwing, more or less. Linus Darkwing from Peanuts, because you could tell because he has the striped shirt, messy hair, and a blanket. Darkwing and Launchpad as bees or a moth or something. A bunch of the Darkwings that we've already seen. And my favorite, Roger Rabbit Darkwing with the Frank Sinatra singing sword.
Which I could hear when looking at that.
I love it. Great. This is the most we've mentioned Roger Rabbit on this podcast.
Yeah.
So all the Darkwings start attacking Negaduck. We get, I'm going to do these super quick just so we get through it. A Tron Darkwing that says, I am the wall that crashes your light cycle. A Sherlock Holmes Darkwing that says, I am the crime that is anything but elementary. Who's this Darkwing with the powdered wig?
That's Adam Ant, and he says, I think there's a the missing, and it should say, I am the jukebox unplugged to try another flavor, which is a line from Ant Music.
Oh, see, you taught me something. There's a Popeye Darkwing that says, I am the can of spinach you cannot open. And finally, a Lady Gaga Darkwing. I am the romance that always ends bad. Gaga, ooh la la, of course. And a bunch of other Darkwings. Tiffany named them quick, the ones all attacking Negaduck.
Okay, you got like a Treasure Planet Darkwing, you got a Sports Darkwing, a Clown, a Mr. Fantastic, a Where's Waldo.
Nice.
Arachno Duck, Iron Man, what the one from Comic Book Capers, I forget his name.
Death Valley Duck.
Death Valley Duck, a old Prospector, and possibly the Shadow, and big glob slime monster Darkwing.
And a Centaur.
Oh, and a Centaur, yeah.
Hey, Tiffany, does James Silvani really love Darkwing Duck?
I think so.
So, Launchpad, Darkwing, and Goslin flying on the Thunderquack. They open the mouth of the ship and zap Negaduck with the tronsplitter, which does exactly what they were hoping it does. It separates him from Paddywack, but also separates Negaduck into two separate Negaducks. And there's a panel of a bunch of generic Darkwings looking at the two Negaducks. There's an Elephant Darkwing, a Carmen Miranda Darkwing, there's a Pharaoh Darkwing, Chun-Li Darkwing, so it's not that generic. A Mexican Darkwing, a Russian one, perhaps. Yeah, I see that. A Mexican Darkwing with a giant mustache. A very proper English Darkwing with a top hat. A Chinese one, which might not be so politically correct anymore. And a Smurf Darkwing. And Darkwing Doubloon, of course.
Yeah.
So what exactly did the tronsplitter do to Negaduck?
It split him into a negative duck and a slightly less negative or slightly less Negaduck.
Yeah, so one is like a super, super evil Negaduck and a kind of evil Negaduck.
Which I kind of love.
I just love the gigantic teeth on super evil Negaduck. Really, really great. And as they're talking behind, Darkwing and the Negaducks, you see an Aladdin Darkwing, a Chef Darkwing, a Conquistador Darkwing, and one with a big pompadour. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Maybe Elvis Darkwing or James Dean Darkwing. Who the hell knows? But then Negaduck is hit over and over and over again with the tronsplitter and is split into smaller and smaller versions of himself.
It totally reminds me of that Futurama with Bender.
Oh, the Bender, the one where he becomes all tiny benders. I love that episode.
And they drink all the alcohol.
So all water on Earth becomes alcohol, and everyone gets drunk just because all the water in their bodies are alcohol, so everyone's drunk all the time. I love that episode. I forget the name of it, but it's a great episode.
Yeah.
But all these Negaducks are either like drawn like with softer and sweeter features or super deranged. Like one has giant like tusk fangs coming out. But he zaps so many times he becomes particles and pretty much disappears. And Darkwing is like, hey, who's playing with the tronsplitter? And again, we get a ton more Darkwings. Coonskin Hat Darkwing, Kermit Darkwing, Soda Drinking Hat Darkwing. Maybe he's Smitty Jurgen Jägerman Jensen from SpongeBob. I don't know. My SpongeBob references only go to season 3. Charlie Chaplin's Darkwing, Avatar Darkwing, a few more. I'm just getting tired of naming them. And it was Paddywack holding the Thunderquack like a weapon. Basically, he zapped all the Negaducks. And he's like, little particles of good and evil flying through the air. He's like, my greatest prank ever. So that's, that's kind of a Paddywack thing to do.
Yeah.
And of course, we get more Darkwings, Bart Simpson Darkwing, Rocketeer Darkwing, Crazy Wig Darkwing, Abraham Lincoln Darkwing, RoboCop Darkwing, Viking Darkwing. It's just Indian Darkwing. Again, not the most politically correct thing. They wouldn't do that now, but it's just a headdress. But what happens now, Tiffany?
So then you hear someone say from the thunder, "Quack, the fun is over."
Who is it?
It's Goslin.
And all the Darkwings are like, Goslin! And all the hearts fly up. And again, more Darkwings. Cowardly Lion Darkwing, a Chic Darkwing, Blues Brothers Darkwing, Gnome Darkwing, Scarecrow Darkwing, Mad Hatter Darkwing, Sailor Moon Darkwing, Calvin and Hobbes Darkwing.
Yeah.
Kiss Darkwing. It's really, really crazy. It's just a lot. Mario Darkwing. We got to stop. This is getting nuts. So how is Paddywack defeated? What happens?
But Morgana uses the Jack Skell. Was it called something
She did call it something, but search me if I remember.
Yeah, she uses the Jack Skellington horseshoe and uses all the positive energy and throws it back to Paddywack.
And then he's sucked into the Jack-in-the-Box, just like before. And
no
Launchpad
fair.
And Launchpad still has yellow feet. And he's sucked right back in, just like Haunting of Mr. Banana Brain. They got him. And a few more Darkwings. We got Gandalf Darkwing, like a Gandhi Darkwing, and Spock Darkwing, and it's just nuts. And in reality, it's Goslin's presence that saved the day. She's the one thing all these Darkwings have in common.
Yep.
So we wrap up going home in the interdimensional subway. And Quiverwing Duck manages to say goodbye, because that's good closure for him, since the only reason why he's Quiverwing Duck in the first place is because Goslin died.
Yeah.
It just feels weird saying that. He hugs her goodbye. Everyone gets on the bus. We have just a handful of more Darkwings. They're all Disney references. We have the Dwarfs, Scrooge, Donald, Goofy, Belle, and the Genie. Finally, that's over. So all the Darkwings leave, and it seems like everything's over and they can move on with their lives. But not quite. How do we end?
Ends with a news report that says that 98% of St. Canard citizens distrust Darkwing Duck. 2% do claim to trust him and say he's the guy who swims in the money, right?
And Darkwing passes out. Dun 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 doodle doodle doodle. That's how 90% of the Darkwing Duck episodes ended, with that music. Yep. you know it and I know it. And it says the end. Yeah, right. And why is the news reporter Tom Lockjaw? I'm going to say it every time.
No, I mean, it must have been leading to something that they never got to.
But good issue. I'm happy enough with the way this wrapped up. I'm also going to be totally honest. It really is all downhill from here. Until we hit Joe Books, where things just get so much better. But this is, I think, might be the best of the story arcs. Considering we have 10 more Darkwing issues to go, that's not saying much. But what did you think of this issue?
I really liked it. I guess I would give it a 4.5 again. My only thing that I really didn't like about it was, I think the Paddywack thing was a little quick.
I'm getting to that.
But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I liked the story. I thought there was a little bit of dialogue stuff, but it wasn't as bad as some previous issues.
And again, Definitively Dangerous does make a lot of it more readable.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, like, Aaron Sparrow, like, later on after he left Boom, looking at these comics and just groaning, like, oh, man, that wasn't my intent. I know James Silvani did his best to, like, Aaron Sparrow tried to ghostwrite as long as he could through James Silvani, but James Silvani didn't write this stuff, so he was, what Ian Brill wanted eventually got in. But I'm going to give this a 4. Mainly because the Paddywack stuff for me brings it down. I'm going to be honest. He shoehorned into this in the last issue when I really think it should have ended with Darkwing fighting Negaduck and Magica. I feel like that's how we should have ended. But for them to go through all this trouble for it to end with Paddywack being the big bad and taking over Negaduck, I feel like that's a story that could have been used somewhere else. And bringing him in as this ultimate evil bad guy, when even though he's creepy, even though he's a trickster, even though he feeds off misery and pranks, he's not Darkwing's most dangerous, most evil adversary that he should be overshadowing Negaduck.
Yeah, it might have been better if they still had him there and revealed, but he was kind of like lingering and like setting something up for later.
And this is an ongoing problem with Ian Brill's writings. He doesn't know how to end these things without a massive blowout happening. And then, as we're going to see at the end of the next story arc, Matt Morgana poofing everything away. And this was leading up to a really great place. I feel like shoehorning this character in was a mistake. As much as I like Paddywack, probably shouldn't have been in this. It's too much. But I'm going to give it a 4 because it's still great. The art is always fantastic. All these references are exhausting, but they're fun. And it's a great issue. It's a great way to end it. I really enjoy it. Do you have any final thoughts on this issue or the Crisis on Infinite Darkwing story arc as a whole?
Not too much. I mean, I really like it. This might be my favorite of the story arcs.
I don't think they're getting better than this, personally. So that's it. We finished this story arc. Before we jump into arc number 3, we're going to tackle the annual next week, which features the return of Quackerjack and a short story written by Tad Stones himself. Also, and perhaps most importantly, Will Santana is joining us next week for this issue.
Yay!
He made it very clear he did not want to miss the big Quackerjack story, and he had to be on it. So we're making sure he is. So next week we get Will back. We're excited to have him back. This should be a lot of fun. And until then, no, we got 1 week before that. Until then, we are the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. You can find us on all podcast apps, including Stitcher, Spotify, Google, iTunes, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Facebook, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, or just go ahead and watch us on YouTube. And if you do that, please subscribe. That definitely helps. And you can join our communities on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, and Instagram. And Tiffany, where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram at Tiffany Silver Braun. I'm on YouTube. Oh, and Regurgitating Gertie. And I'm on YouTube at Radioact Tiffany.
All right. So, and I hope we didn't upset anybody with our opinions on that Rescue Rangers movie. If you feel like saying what you thought of it, please go ahead and respond in the YouTube comments or whatever you listen to the podcast on. If you're on our Facebook group or whatever, on Reddit, just let us know how you feel. We're curious.
Maybe I'll eat my words and it'll be the best movie ever. Who knows?
I think it'll be at the very least really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. It's not like I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know if I'm going to like it. But we have quite a few months. I think the way our schedule's working, we will probably still be doing this by then. So we might review it. Who knows? Anyway, until next week, I'm Mike Russo, and she's Tiffany Silver Braun, and this is the St. Canard Files, and we will catch you guys later. Have a good night. Stay dangerous.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.